Hello, thanks for joining me. Today I'm back filming, and I'm actually back filming a tag, and it is the Zodiac Fragrance Tag. So we're all about the astrology today, and this was a fragrance tag that was set up by Jon Snow. So he is much more known on Instagram. His channel is called Scented Snowdrops. He's also got his own channel here on YouTube. It's not as well known, but you can head over there. It is under Jon Snow, and show him a bit of love. But he set up the Zodiac Fragrance Tag. It's a bit of fun, and this is all about matching fragrances to different elements of our star sign or zodiac sign. So I hope you enjoy this background. This is probably a huge clue to what star sign I am. Obviously, firstly, thank you so much, Jon, for tagging me. So before I jump in, for those that are interested, the fish in my tank are the African Malawi cichlids. Had a few little tiddlers born, and they're doing really well. I've only spotted a couple so far, so let me know down below if you spot any. Also, I hope the lighting is okay. I'm trying to get the right lighting for this video, and because we've got a lot of light in the tank and light outside the tank, there's going to be reflections, so I'm hoping that it won't be too distracting. Okay, so I'm not that familiar with astrology. I used to be much more into it than I am now. It can have relevance, it can be fun. It was interesting finding out different bits, because I realised actually how relevant some of this stuff actually is. So starting with the first fragrance, this is going to relate to the symbol of a Cancerian, and that of course is the crab. I can't say I've got a fragrance that smells crabby or even looks like a crab, but I do have a very special one actually that I haven't shown on the channel before, I haven't spoken about, but it does have quite a beautiful connection to crustaceans and rock pools, so it's obviously perfect in that capacity. So this is a fragrance called Sonia Riel, and this is by a company called Marcelena Theresa, and this is from their Talismans line. I'm not too familiar with the company, if I'm honest, and I'm not familiar with any other fragrances of this line, but this is one that I've always wanted, and this is the one I'm familiar with. I do keep it in the box because it's a kind of a special one, and I don't want to risk any damage to it, so it's kept in the box. Now then, this is Sonia Riel. Now you can see why I say it's connected to the beach, at least crustaceans. Sonia Riel was created by the perfumer after a dream that she had, and it was a dream about the unconscious mind, very much a marine dream, all about sea urchins and electrified air. This is her interpretation of that dream. So it's a beautiful concept, and what this essentially is an amber fragrance. This one caught my eye more for the look of it initially, and obviously that lid is really where you kind of think, what is going on? I thought that was a lump of ambergris when I first saw it. It's actually a sea urchin. That's what it's supposed to be. Now the actual fragrance, like I say, this is an amber fragrance. There's a ton of notes in here, but I'll just mention the ones that I think are relevant, i.e. the amber. There's sea notes, which is bringing a hell of a lot of salt. There's rum, there's hyrax. There's actually tuberose in here as well. There is a hint of that in there, but honestly, to my nose, it's all about this amber and this salt. Now, I would assume there'd be ambergris in here because there is such a lovely animalic saltiness. Now hyrax obviously is the animalic tone in here, but it's very ambergris like, and I do love ambergris. But there's something about this fragrance that just puts me in mind of the beach. Now, not a typical tropical beach. I'm talking the Jurassic coastlines around the UK. I mean, we're talking rocky, sharp, rough terrain with animalic undertones beneath the rocks, you know, all sort of manner of things all washed up, very much rock pools with your crabs and your urchins and all that seaweed. It's just so evocative of being on a British coast for me. It's just beautiful. I'll tell you what it reminds me of as well. There must have been a perfume around the 80s that was a very soft, because it's quite a soft amber as well. It reminds me of the Avon, an Avon fragrance, or at least it reminds me of flipping through an Avon book back in the 80s, and you had those scratch and sniff pages where you'd peel something back. Every time I smell this, I'm back sniffing an Avon page. But it really does take me back to some sort of 80s amber fragrance, I don't know. But I love that about it as well. And it really is just absolutely exquisite. The opening is quite sharp. You do get a lot more of the animalic tone, and you get some of the bergamot in the opening as well, but it's the dry down in here that I absolutely love, absolutely adore it. And it's that soft, comforting, powdery, salty amber. and it's just absolutely divine. So that is Sonia Riel, and that is my fragrance to represent the crab. So the next element here, well, it was the month, and sorry John, I have switched it up a little bit, because if it was the month of June, I'd probably pick Delina, because Delina is my birthday fragrance. It's the one I associate with the special occasion on my birthday month, and everyone at this stage is probably sick of hearing about Delina. And let's just talk about the element, which of course is water, and I've got a fragrance here that I don't get to talk about very often, and it's a nice opportunity to talk about it. Now this is water, and it is by Tessa Williams. This is a very small indie brand, and Tessa Williams also makes candles and other, you know, scented household products. Now this is actually such an easy to love fragrance. It's very, very pleasant, and it is evocative of being at the beach. Well, not so much the beach, let's say being near the sea or being next to the sea. A very soft, easy ocean breeze. Opens with a lovely bergamot. I don't think there's bergamot in here actually. I just smell that really fresh, greeny, citrusy bergamot, very sweet. I don't think that's even listed. What we've got listed is fig, lily of the valley, jasmine. You've got the aquatic notes. I find it quite salty, which I love. That is obviously the aquatic notes. It's just gentle. I think it's just a gentle ocean breeze with this soft element of the bergamot citruses. Very soft lily of the valley and jasmine, never too strong, and then those lovely salty aquatic notes. So it is very much a gentle, calming ocean breeze. So that obviously is my fragrance for water. So the next element here is the season of the crab, and my season obviously will be summer because I was born at the end of June. And the fragrance that I've got here is very much my summer staple. So I've chosen Eclat d'Apage by Lavin. This one is, this one's often paired to, or at least compared, I should say, to Light Blue by Dolce & Gabbana. And I do get that resemblance, but this is like the floral twin of Light Blue, if you can imagine that. This is actually a tea floral fragrance. There's quite a lot of osmanthus in here. And I find osmanthus that can come off a little bit lemony, but we're talking like the softest element of a lemon. Osmanthus is just a beautiful, fresh smelling flower. And it often gets paired with tea, I've noticed. Obviously it's a nice combination. But it's the florals in here that I find really beautiful, and I really connect to them. And it's purple florals. We've got lilac and wisteria. We've also got peony, which isn't really a purple floral. But they all work so beautifully in here. I find the lilac is definitely more prominent. I really do love lilac. But aside from it being quite a pleasing freshie with some really pretty florals in here, there's a salty element, which I love. I love a sort of a hint of salt in fragrance. It's slightly salty, but overall it's quite cold. It's a cold, fresh purple floral with this salty element and so much brightness in it. It's soft and bright somehow. And this is so affordable. It's so affordable. This is 100 ml, and I picked this up on Latino for about, I think, £26, and it's still being sold at a really good price. So I would highly recommend grabbing this if you see it, because it's just so easy to love. If you love those purple florals, if you love a bit of tea and a bit of brightness, a bit of freshness, it's such an easy, beautiful fragrance to love. As I say, this is a summer staple in my fragrance collection. So that is Eclat d'Apage by Lavin. So next up is the flower, and my Zodiac flower for Cancerian is actually, it says white florals with emphasis on being the rose. So it's very much about a white rose, and that does happen to be my favourite flower. I don't know if that's a coincidence or whether to read into that, I don't know. I don't really have any fragrances that I would say are white rose scented. Most of mine are pink and sweet, occasionally watery. So I didn't pick a rose fragrance. I know. It's just extraordinary. But I did pick white florals, and there's two here that are very special to me that I often pair up. I don't often get to show white florals, so let's just go for it. So first of all, this one is called Lucky, and it's from Christian Dior, the Privé line. I have mentioned this one a few times. This is a fragrance that really shines in spring. I think summer as well, but because of the green element to this, it shines in spring. This is a Lily of the Valley fragrance, straight up Lily of the Valley. It's not too soapy and it's not too strong, and that is why I enjoy it so much. It's very watery and very ethereal, and there's a beautiful sharpness in here, which I think is just the natural green sharpness of a Lily of the Valley. It's almost sparkling, but it is watery. There's very little notes to be found about this one. It's very much just this lily of the valley and ozonic notes. But I love how fresh and easy and clean and uplifting it is. So that is my white floral number 1, but I'm going to show another one. And this one I often pair with it, and this one is one that everyone knows how much I love it. It's incredibly special. This is Confessions of a Garden Gnome by Fort and Manley. This is from an Australian company from Melbourne. Now this is also a lily of the valley and lily floral fragrance, but it's also classed as green. It's something magical about this one. Something magical about a garden when the rain has fallen. Everything wakes up, doesn't it? The trees look greener, the grass looks greener, everything is just in this magical hue. That's how I associate Confessions of a Garden Gnome. I'm going to put Lucky down because I'm holding both at an awkward angle and it's getting really heavy. So it's classed as a green floral musk, and there's a ton of notes in here, but the ones I'm going to mention are the ones I think are relevant. Lily and Lily of the Valley, definitely the most prominent florals in here. They're not too sharp or soapy or watery. They blend in so beautifully with this kind of mossy element. I find the greenness in here more like moss. It's damp and it's dewy, but it's the ambergris that makes this magical. There's a wet tobacco nuance running through this. Overall, this composition is, to me, a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. It's stunning. So with Lucky, which I do often pair them together. They're both beautiful on their own, but I just think they are a match made in heaven. So that is my flower for the zodiac sign of Cancerian. Those are my white flowers, Lucky and Confessions of a Garden Gnome. So next is the Cancerian Gemstone. I was quite surprised. I don't remember it being a ruby. I always associate my month or my zodiac with a pearl or a moonstone, something that's white. White is very much, I think, the Cancerian colour. There's always this thing about purity. But although it's a ruby, apparently it's also a moonstone and a pearl and an emerald. I don't know how these things work out. There's different influences, isn't there? And so I can pick a different gem. So I have gone with a pearl. I think it works nicely with our sea theme anyway. So I'm going with a pearl. And instead of me choosing a fragrance that perhaps smells white or that there's a pearl-like iridescent bottle or something like that, I've gone more with the smell of association. And obviously a pearl is formed within an oyster. I do have a fragrance that I have to say I can relate to an oyster. There's only one fragrance I think that you can really do that with. It's by Thierry Mugler and it is Womanity. This is the ever polarizing Womanity. Some people are alien people, some people are angel people. Some of us are the Womanity people, and I'm one of them. I love this fragrance. The moment I first smelt it, I instantly enjoyed the saltiness and the whole vibe of it. Now that it smells like an oyster, exactly, it is incredibly salty. The salt content in this is almost equivalent to, you know, tasting an oyster, almost. I think the fig rescues it from being too minerally, if you like, too much like licking a pebble. And there is a prettiness in here. There's a pink prettiness coming through this scent. I don't know where that's coming from, but this really is all about salt and fig. You've got a fig tree, fig leaf, fig fruit, and caviar. So it is very much related to, you know, a watery sign, obviously. And it does smell like being near the sea, in a rock pool. It's that salty, but it's so lovely. It's something about it I just really vibe with. I love the amount of fig that's in here. It's like a dry fig. It's a fig that could have been dipped in salt, if you like. Hello, cat. But there's a prettiness in here. There must be some sort of floral in here, I think, that's not being revealed. But there is a pink prettiness that I think rescues this from being just too harsh and too heavy. So, yeah, that's the best one I can compare a pearl to. And that is the Womanity from Thierry Mugler. So next we're moving on to personality. So my personality for the crab, it's, well, the positive things, let's start with the positive. We're intuitive, we're homely, we're caring. There's got to be more than that. Protective. There are more than that. Apparently we're good with money, but I don't relate to that one. Negative, we are, hang on a minute, we're oversensitive, moody, crabby. Although loyal, that was a good one. But we are pessimistic, very suspicious. And we're passionate apparently as well. Well, the Cancer of the Crab is ruled by the moon. So the moon, of course, is the ever-changing moon with different phases, and that very much reflects a Cancerian. I do relate to that a hell of a lot. But trying to find a fragrance which encompasses the personality of a Cancerian, I just figured, well, look, I'm going to pick a fragrance which encompasses pretty much everything I love. You know, the rose. It's got to have something with rose. It's got to be sweet. It's got to be pink. It's got to be something watery, perhaps, about it. And I've got a fragrance here that I haven't talked about before. It's one that I vibe with so easily, and if I didn't have like 1001 fragrances, it would be a signature scent for sure. Maison Lancôme, and this is Rose and Peony. So of course it's a rose and peony fragrance, and this is everything about me in a bottle. It can't seem to lose that golden glare, but you can see how beautiful this bottle is. Of course it's got all the usual metal plaque detail on the front. It hasn't got the side plaque which they normally have, but it's beautiful with the roses and that beautiful pale pink colour inside, and it does smell very much like the colour, that pale pink but still quite sweet looking pink. The tank light through it doesn't do it enough justice, but we'll talk about the scent. And this scent, like I say, is just me in a bottle. So it's rose, obviously, and peony. We've got raspberry, we've got pink pepper, there's watery notes. Lovers of Delina will really appreciate this one. This has got a Delina Turkish Delight vibe running through it. The rose is very sweet and very raspberry. That raspberry really does hit those petals of the rose and really sweeten it up, making it very pink and very juicy. I like that it's not overwhelmed with peony, because peony can be quite shampooey. It gives more of a substance to a rose fragrance, the peony. It kind of is, there's a lot more substance, a lot more sort of plumpness to it. A lovely amount of raspberry, which is good because I love that sweet pink style. The watery notes keep it really juicy, moisture on a fruit, that kind of juicy. It's very, very beautiful. It really reminds me of the jelly, the pink jelly in a Turkish Delight. It's got that thick, liquidy, pink Turkish Delight jelly. Get the pink pepper in the dry down. And I think the pink pepper really does come through. It just sits within all that lovely pink jelly Turkish Delight and gives it a bit of extra oomph, you know. It does last all day. It definitely has good longevity. It just doesn't project as much as I would like, but regardless of that, it is a stunning rose and peony fragrance, and that is my choice to suit my personality as a Cancerian. I'm going with this rose and peony from the house of Maison Lancôme. Okay, so that is the end of all my choices there. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Jon, for tagging me. I think it's time for me to tag a few people. I'm going to tag 5 fabulous lady reviewers, okay? All have amazing channels. Needless to say, they are all fragrance channels that I really enjoy watching, and certainly ones that I'm looking forward to seeing what they choose. First up, I'm going to choose Marcy. So Marcy is from a channel, Marcelena Theresa. She's fairly new, this amazing personality, and she's very, very positive, and we've had a few chats here and there on our videos and whatnot. You are tagged if you want to do this, by all means. Sarah Mays, I love her channel. I think she's fabulous. So Sarah Mays from the Sarah Mays channel, you're tagged. V from Casually Fragrant. I just love V. She's awesome, and I've been watching her since the very beginning of my journey. And she's one of the reasons I got into doing filming, and I just think she's amazing. So V, you are tagged. Next up, we have the super gorgeous, fabulous French Corinne from Olfactive Stories. Her tastes do run fairly parallel with mine, so be interested to see what star sign she is and what fragrances she picks. So Corinne, you are tagged. And last and definitely no means least, we have the Queen Bean herself, the fabulous and amazing Claire from the channel Smurfygurly. So Claire, hope you can do the tag. And that is it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope I haven't waffled on too long. I shall leave you there. I hope you've enjoyed looking at all my little fishes. And did you spot any of the babies? Let me know down below. That is all. Take care of yourselves. That's all from me. Over and out.